I would like to apply for a driver's license.
What's funny?
Want to apply to drive a motor vehicle? Or should I say logo vehicle? What is this? It's a, can your logo do this? Package?
Hi, is this my, can your logo do this? Yes.
Welcome to the 7 continents of Kenya with Kane Carter. Get ready for an adventure on MEMgazine.
To answer that, I'll give it a perspective on a personal level because I'm a creative from this other end.
Strangers will support you more than your family or your friends or those that you hold close. Have you ever heard that? Hey Carl, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good. Nice to virtually meet you.
I'm actually more glad to be here actually.
Okay. Well, I've been recently just discovered you and discovered how your art is unique.
Okay.
And I also understand that you also a magazine owner. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm doing an editorial. I'm the editor-in-chief there. You're starting up a magazine or it's a continuous editorial?
It is a startup magazine. I did many ventures and I love writing. So I figure like this is the best venture for me to start, writing articles and doing interviews and things like that, because I love to write. I love to create anything that is, art and expressive, to give inspiration to people or no matter what the situation is, I like to write. So MEMgazine, which is kind of interesting because I didn't think that this name would be like MEMgazine, like because of Memphis, Tennessee. I would have think that somebody would have came up with the name, but nobody came up with that name, so it's like perfect for me.
It's so catchy, and it brings out an energy that is so rare, and it's so common. Me, I can say it's so common for creatives. I can really click up that name when a fellow creative can really click up that name so fast. To the extent that I understand branding in a way, there is a way that your name collects. And for me, the first time I interacted with it, I didn't quite get it well, you know. But coming later on to discover it's actually a concept behind a magazine, it was so interesting for me.
And how long
I
have you
also
been
feel
doing the magazine? I know for some years.
I've not done it that much because I've only managed to do 3 editorials. I can count on 2 perfectly because the first one was my trial and error because it's something I do individually. I actually don't have like a team that I'm working with. So I actually do the curating, I do like everything. I go down to do the projects with the creatives. So the first one I can quite say that it wasn't that comprehensive because it was something I wasn't sure about. That was one. Resources come along, and at the moment when you're doing something and you're not quite sure of what you're doing, it doesn't quite come out well. So I can count on the second edition. The first edition was just quite about who I am, what I'm trying to bring out to creatives, the platform I'm trying to create out here. Yeah. The second one, I can give an oversight. It was about, I was trying to introduce a concept because my magazine bases on bit of conceptual work. So the second edition was I was trying to bring I was curating a podcast, but a podcast that was self-made, a monologue, like a self-discussion between me and me, which another individual relate to. So that's what I was thinking about in the second editorial. So I was like pre-launching the podcast in the magazine and also talking about it, writing an article behind it. And I also had creatives who were backing up the idea. So ideally, those were the people who I featured in the magazine.
It looks like you had a major medical emergency, but the doctor will be in here in a few.
Doc, you said this the last 15 times you've been in here.
Trust me, it won't be much longer. He specializes in quality services.
Did you call?
Yeah, but I was hoping that the doctor would answer. I've been here over 48 hours now.
48 hours? Let me check to see if the doctor's still here.
Still here?
What are you doing today?
I hope you're the mascot of me being released.
I'm not a mascot.
You're also not a doctor. Who are you?
Please, let my patient speak.
Wow, okay, forget about Russian. This is getting good. By the way, I'm no mascot. I'm a doctor's logo. With a doctor's degree?
You're a doctor's what?
Please, your tone may upset my patient. Wait a minute, who's really a doctor here? I'm a doctor's logo. Can you do that? He's just a logo. Doctor's logo.
Okay.
So,
And you say this. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and just an oversight on the last edition. It is actually the last edition. I can really count on it because it was something I really sat down to do, and I took some time because it was something that I announced about it and called for creatives to submit in around before August last year, and so I've been collecting projects slowly by slowly because I understand it's a creative venture and it's like I can call it an individual brand thing. So I have to do it alone. That's one challenge I can really shout out now. But I really have to do the whole editorial.
Okay. Are you still? Okay, there we go. Okay, so you said, I heard that you said that you wasn't sure when you first started this magazine. And I know that you've been doing it for a long time, like far as creative art, because I went over some of your pictures and you was young and you was still creating your vision back then. So how many times have you went on different ventures and you wasn't sure and it ended up working out?
Okay, I can say all the time, each and every time, almost turns out that before I actually put it into action, it was something I was really in doubt for because before I even thought, I was in such a confusion and such a dilemma because I was thinking of something very great, but I wasn't connecting what great thing I'm really after. Initially, I was thinking I'm more or less of someone who can do architecture because initially I did a course like for 4 years. I did drawing and design. So I was like in the design industry. I was doing a lot of technical drawing. So initial state, initially I really believed that I was really falling into the field of doing a lot of architectural work and everything. But it turns out there was this interest in visuals. And again, the confusion comes in again. I'm not quite sure where to really venture. There's a lot of this photography, there's videography, there's the graphics part of it. So I get that I'm interested in almost everything. There's photography here, I have a strength. Videography here, I also have a strength here. And the other side in graphics, I also have a strength. But all these I've been doing them on freelance mode, not like technically being a pro. Yeah.
Okay. And first of all, well, introduce yourself. Let's officially meet the crowd. They may be watching this interview soon. So could you introduce yourself and where your age and what you do and where you're from?
Okay, officially, my official names I'm Wayne Austin and Otieno. Otieno is our local name here, so that's my surname, Otieno. And I'm 23 years. I'm turning 24 actually tomorrow. Such a coincidence. Professionally, I'm a trained librarian. I did information science. So that is technically what I do professionally. But on the other side, I'm a creative artist. That's who I am. That's who I am. That's my identity. That's how an artist can introduce themselves. So my identity is being a creative artist. I do a lot of there's a diversity in a lot of things I do. I venture into a lot of content creation. I venture also into a lot of storytelling, and storytelling comes in where I create a lot of videos. I create a lot of photography that tells stories, and also
And is that, let me ask you, is that the reason? Oh, I'm sorry. The video acting up. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
also saying that my photography style also brings out the story I also try to deliver. So on the other side, that's the brief introduction of what I say about myself. Another thing is also I'm a fitness guy. I'm a fitness guy. I do a bit of gym workouts, do home workouts. So that keeps me fit and mentally stable for
Okay.
this tricky industry which we are in. Yeah.
Is that the reason? Let me ask you, with your interest in the art, is that the real purpose of you working at the library, or it was just like a connection that was destined for you to be at the library where creative people write? Like,
It was such a double coincidence because initially when I started pursuing information science at the university level. I didn't quite think that at the end of it all, I would land in publishing and also having to be part of creating editorials and even write-ups and being an editor to that level. Initially, I was just venturing it as a transition from you moving from high school. Now you did well, you got an opportunity to get a course, and I was just pursuing the course in absentia that way. But it ended up being something that connects with actually who I am.
okay. And are you a native of Kenya, or did you move from somewhere else?
I'm natively Kenyan, so I'm Kenyan by everything actually.
Okay.
This
And
home.
and have you ever traveled outside of Kenya?
Not far, just in the neighboring countries. That is Uganda here and Tanzania. But
Okay.
I'd really wish to move overseas and get that
Okay.
exposure from somewhere else.
And I'm sure that you've been following like the other creatives, in your area, your local area, and outside of your area as well, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
And could you tell me the difference that you see between local creators and creators that's outside your area?
Okay. One thing that we'll all have to accept is that creatives stand out differently. They come with a lot of diversity. They come with a lot of things. So locally, let me put it this way: locally and internationally. So locally, talking about my country, and internationally, maybe giving reference to where you are. So locally, I'd say there's a lot of potential in what creatives produce. But one thing is that the platforms, the channels, how creatives have been caught, how creatives bring themselves out. It's not to set to maybe to say to be in a competition level with those creatives who are international. A challenge that comes in was the challenge that I talked about yesterday. There's a way accounts, social media accounts from your side receive quite some in terms of tools, in terms of experience, in terms of accessibility, in terms of reach. You guys, the other side, you accounts created on they have potential and they're in the region where they can receive monetization. And you know, for a creative, they need some motivation. They need some motivation for the work they're giving out there. If you don't get feedback from any content I post, if I don't get feedback from my audience or my tribe, it kills down the momentum of creating, because actually you're creating for yourself, but at the end of the day, you need an audience to appreciate what you do. So internationally and locally, I can say that locally, the potential have not just been exhausted that much. If we could get channels, if we could get on how creatives can in locally are being educated or even exposed to a lot of opportunities. So that is the comparison I can give these two creatives.
And we talked about it yesterday that, like you mentioned, you said that the creative accounts on certain medias isn't quite the same. I did a little research and it said you needed 5,000 and 60,000 views on your account or whatnot. And I haven't looked in the US. I didn't do no research, but I do know there is restrictions when it comes to certain countries versus the United States or anywhere else. Because I went on an actual music site. I don't know if you know the site. I think it's called Boom. It's a site with a B, I think. It's a music site over there in Africa.
Boomplay.
Boomly?
It's called Boomplay.
Boom. Okay, Boomly. And they
Boomplay. Boom,
Boomly?
then play.
Spell it for me. Oh, Boomplay. Yes, Boomplay. Okay. So
Boomplay, yes.
they charge like per song or something like that for you to listen to songs. Where over here, like we have free websites or media where we can actually listen to it, different songs for free. So I do notice that difference. Some restrictions in certain countries versus us and everything, and I can verify that fact. What do you think about that?
How I give my take is that it's a step back for us, because actually the internet is one thing. That's one funny thing. The internet is one thing. We are all competing for one particular attention, which is the internet. But now the challenge comes in when the diversity now falls into how countries give permissions and a regional access to some monetization actions compared to one country from one country to another. So in that, I can't quite compete well with creatives, or I can't quite create in that space well when another creative who we are almost in the same level has different stats and insights. So that's completely killing down my creative potential. So that's what I can say about it. If there was some, in as much as a platform brings up how their metrics on how they work, but in terms of permissions and equality, I think for creatives, it should be quite on some level so that we can all enjoy the potential of each and every application and platform.
Right. Oh, first of all, the links that I sent you to the other channels, did you get a chance to browse over them?
Yeah, I went through some of them. There was an artist page profile. I went to the artist profile just to see, how to just familiarize myself with where you are.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna ask you these questions. On creating from nothing, Memphis is a city where culture wasn't manufactured by corporations, so to say. It was born out of necessity, of struggle, and like the blues and soul. So my question is, in Memphis, we often say our best art comes from the place of grit and grind, creating something beautiful out of very little. Does that creative community in Kenya feel the same pressure to innovate because of the struggle, or the inspiration coming from a different place right now?
Okay, to answer that, I'll give it a perspective on a personal level because I'm a creative from this other end. So on my personal level, looking behind on all the creations and all the projects I happen to have done, one pushing factor has always been my mental state. My mental state, like the experiences I'm having in life, where I've been from, like my originality, what I really want to change, that really drives my creativity day in, day out. So I can compare two projects. I can give you two instances. When I've done a project when I'm really in my good mental state, and a project that I've done when I'm really down and really devastated in a way. This is how the creativity aspects from the two are really different. So I can side with this grit and grind. There's the pressure, there's the pain. So we create under pressure, we create under some pain, and that really gives the best out of any project a creative tries to do on the other side. So I believe that is how we and most of us relate, because it's something that a fellow creative can attest to me, because we quite network, we quite meet, they quite express themselves in this editorial. So something I can attest.
Okay. And it's the saying called Jua Kile. Am I pronouncing it right? Is it Jua Kile?
Which one?
Ju was Jua, and the next word is Kali.
JUA Juakali.
Jua Kali.
It's called Juakali. Yeah,
Jua
Juakali
Kali.
industry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Juakali. You understand Juakali?
Huh?
You understand Juakali?
No, I don't. I know it's meant
Okay.
something like Furious Son.
Okay, Furious Sun, but not actually direct translation in that way.
Okay.
Juakali like means that industry where you have to go through some hardship so that actually you can get something out of it. Like you
Oh,
can imagine someone selling something out in the open air market, that's Juakali. Someone welding outside there, is making out some furniture, that's Juakali. So it's used to refer to people who are actually doing the other hard ventures. Yeah.
Okay, that's what you basically was explaining the definition of that before I brought it up.
Yo, how can we help you? Bro, I'm here for an audition.
And who is this with you? Oh, he's my logo. He cool, he with me. Bro, you do realize you're bringing a logo to record in the studio, right?
Yeah.
So hold up, what's wrong with him bringing me? Oh, snap, is he real? How is your logo responding to me, bro? Oh yeah, my logo can do that.
I don't really wanna talk. No, I ain't got the time. All my logos come alive. Can your logo do this? Can your logo do this? Boom, 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 boom. Can your logo do this? Can your logo do this?
The question is, Memphis music, especially soul and early rock, is deeply rooted in the church and gospel. How does the spiritual landscape of Kenya influence the modern art of music being made there today? Is there a tension between traditional faith and modern creative expression?
Okay. I went through that, and my take on that is this. Church is a strong culture. Like people going to church, people respecting the fact that there's a high being. It's a culture, and it's very strong in Kenya. And it's transparent that we have Islam. It's transparent that we have Christianity, and they are both religions that we quite practice. But on my side, I'll give weight on what I practice and what I believe in. So if you look, if you give a counter check on a lot of musicians, artists, creators in the creative industry, I can give a perfect example of a musician. Let's just sample out a musician. Most of the startup artists who come up and who rise up usually rise up from the gospel industry. People who actually sing gospel music. Before even them deciding or realizing that actually the type of music they are supposed to be doing, maybe it's not that gospel music, before they even differ and explore other ventures and other music genres, they quite rise up from churches, these choirs. So a lot of history from artists, from the interviews they usually get from the interviews I usually go through or meet up with. A lot of their stories come up, and they say that quite rise. My foundation of music was from me being a church choir singer or something. So gospel also shapes the vocal style, because Christianity is something that resonates with a lot of people. So you can't deny that gospel music does not get to the farthest end and the most diverse end of our country. So gospel shapes the vocal style also. Concerning the tension, from creatives' perspective, a lot of creatives fear creating with the perspective that they'll get judged for modern expression. If I express myself out fully that I'm a Christian and my creative work comes through this, not everyone believes in what you do. And that already brings a conflict in between. Actually, there's what I believe and there's what this guy believes. So it tarnishes everything, and it tarnishes your creation, because that is a follower lost, that is a tribe lost, that is an audience lost. But it wasn't lost in a bad way. It was just lost because you people are contrasting in terms of what you do. So I can say not every creative has incorporated or integrated faith in their art, but for those who have integrated it, it's working out perfectly. Because for me, before even I decide that today I'm going to do certain projects, You begin your day with a prayer. You set your mood right for the day, and I can attest it equates to what actually you want.
Okay. I like that answer. It was a very good answer.
Yeah.
And on the Global South connection, the question is, many people in the West only look to New York or LA for culture, but cities like Memphis and Kenya are the only ones actually moving the needle. Do you feel like the world is finally starting to look toward African creators for leadership rather than just inspiration?
Okay. This one might bring conflict in a way, but I just say it. We all learn history. We all know about colonization. We all know about where we came from. We know that there's that concept about Kenyan being under the British and everything. So from that moment that they realize that there's a lot of potential in Africans, and Africans themselves have not realized that this potential is actually in them. They were now mind shifted, and it has now crossed down generations to the moment up to you people uh, at the expense of sidelining the potential that we also have in our own country. And in terms of leadership, yeah, we have that capability of leading our own revolutions and actually positioning ourselves in those spaces that other creatives in those other spaces are putting themselves. So it doesn't have to be that for us or for a creative to be successful, they must end up being in that space that you are, maybe in the USA, maybe in the LA. It doesn't have to be that. We can produce our own. Because actually, before even someone else appreciates your content, people from home should be able to appreciate your content. Before even people from the US consume my magazine, I have to ensure that people from home consume my magazine. So there's a lot of potential, and I can say it's drifting slowly. Those people who are realizing their potentials are coming out to bring it out, because at least for now, we are expressing ourselves. We've been given that platform, and we are really giving out the expression from ourselves. That is very low. If someone really understands content from this other side, and someone from TikTok, and really resonates with what is happening in our country, you can really spend the whole day just following videos from TikTok, because there's a lot of content. There's a lot of people who are very capable of throwing their own, putting out their own revolutions. Yeah. So that is my take for it.
Okay. I don't know if you ever heard this, but in the United States, there's a lot of creatives or a lot of inspiring creatives who feels that strangers will support you more than your family or your friends or those that you hold close. Do you have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I actually believe in that narrative, and actually saying that people from home supporting me, and actually I'm not saying people who know what I'm doing. Actually, people who find my content new to them, those are the strangers who really appreciate your content. But honestly, people who are in close contact to or with, they seem more or less of you pressuring a lot about yourself to them. They don't get the version of, okay, this is a creative, and for a creative, the only support I can give this person is maybe sharing their content, supporting their projects by even purchasing the small merchandises they bring up. But a stranger believes once they get inspired about what you do, and you put out a merchandise there that actually I'm putting this merchandise out to represent what I've been doing this other side. Maybe we are wearing beanies printed this way, that yes, we can. It's a narrative that I'm selling. Someone who believes in the narrative will actually buy the beanie. To an individual who knows me, who was there when I was deciding the idea that I want to build this, yes, I can buy, they feel entitled to be part of your idea and creation. So you don't get the full support.
And do you think it's because of their pre perception of you because they knew you, or like what's your opinion on that? Do you think it's like a pre-existing expectation of you because they know you and they just can't see it because they don't, you know, they see where you are and they see how you've been and they see where you come from. And do you think that comes from that, like them pre-knowing you rather than seeing a stranger and they don't know the background of that stranger, but they see them doing something on content and that person on content might be in the same situation that you are, but they don't know that, but they support them than supporting you more?
Okay, I'd say that is one reason, because they know you before even you did a blast on how or given out your identity as you being a creator. They know you even before that. These are people who know your weaknesses. Don't forget that. They know you when you're low. They know your potential in a way, and they gauge your potential by comparing you with someone who always does the same thing as you. That's why you get they are likely to support another person at the expense of supporting you because they quite compare you with the other person, and they feel the other person is better because there's some effort they're not seeing in you. But in a way, your tribe should be supporting you in a way that they are pushing you to actually identify your potential and explore more of your potential. So in a way, the failure of them not supporting you comes out from the fact that they might be knowing you. They are there when you're creating like you're doing all the creation and thinking about the project. So they don't see they're entitled to think that me being there is already enough support for this person. So that is how they position us. But I don't think support should be coming from that perspective, especially from a tribe. A tribe is someone who really understands what you're doing to a certain depth. So when someone really understands what you're doing to a certain depth, that means they are sailing with you in the same boat actually. So meaning when we're talking about something, they actually promote what you're doing because they relate with the idea and they know this strategy is leading this. It's leading somewhere. Yeah, that's my perspective.
Okay. And since you have a background in creative art, the question I want to ask you now, with indie Memphis movement growing, what are the stories Kenyans are most eager to tell the world right now that Hollywood usually don't get? What is something that you
Okay.
see like on media, social media, the movies, US based, that we tend to get wrong?
Okay, it's not actually a wrong perspective about us, but I'd say they overfocus, they bring out the wrong notion about it. So from Hollywood and from media and from everything and what pushes people to come to our country, they're simply you can simply pinpoint them. People don't come for a lot of things. Maybe people come for safari experiences, and when you get people coming to shoot documentaries, they come to shoot documentaries for people who are vulnerable, like people who have trauma. They go to very vulnerable communities. They shoot a lot of content. I don't know if the end intention is to bring grants to these people or just exposing the fact that we have the other dark side of our country. So from the media, there's a lot of exposure of us being vulnerable, which maybe I'd say it only leads to maybe a certain small percentage of our country. There's really a lot to enjoy more in our country. So they overfocus on poverty. They come to check on the poverty life of people who are living in these other states. But for us, maybe we expect they focus more on urban style. They check more on technology innovations. Maybe they try to bring things that maybe we change lifestyles in Kenya. people talking about raw stories about fatherhood, about how life should be lived, like basically what actually happens and what actually affects us as a country. There are really chronic things people are really suffering from: mental health, creative entrepreneurship. People don't really know about those topics. So if maybe those are the things maybe people will come to expose about our nations, there's really a lot people can really enjoy about it, because there are a lot of creative innovations, there are a lot of creator-led brands that are coming up. There are a lot of artists who are doing a lot of amazing projects down here. But those are not the things actually people intend to come to expose or expose us to.
And far as that civil rights versus creative freedom, Memphis is a city of major pilgrimage because of the civil rights movement. But for those living right here, it's a living, breathing place for faith and struggle. In Kenya, do you feel that your history as a nation inspires your art, or do you ever feel trapped by the expectations of the past? Which kind of like follows up on the prior question we just got to going through.
Okay, concerning that, I'd say this: we really have a strong independence history. Something that it's done. We do it in our syllabuses every day. Like once our system incorporates that we do such a syllabus. We get to learn our history, we get to learn how we gained our independence, we get to learn those heroes of ours. So it's something that is instilled in us from how we're going to school, from lower school to higher education. So it's something that has lived with us. So I'd say the political struggles also shape our identity, because if you can get grit from how those people really struggle to get that independence, then it gives you that courage, gives you that confidence to keep fighting for what you believe. So I'd say colonial legacy still influences system. There's a lot of influence from the up country, especially your country. So there's a lot of there's a lot of how you do things on how they influence things down here. So our history really inspires resilience in a way. We get that boldness, and how if the Mau Mau fighters did it for us, then in our current era, then it's us to fight for what we believe. Yeah. So, but the pressure for creatives, I'd say, influence. It comes with a lot of challenges, in a way that now that we are approaching this political scene that is coming next year, because our general elections actually is coming next year. And for creatives, for influencers, for fashion stylists, and everybody in the creative industry, there's an influence they really carry behind them. There's a following they really carry behind them. So political figures tend to take advantage of this and pull such creatives into political ventures. And actually, that is not our field. If you get a creative actually in the political venture, they're actually in the wrong field, because you're not exploring a potential there. It's either this guy is there because you have numbers, and he can address numbers, and you can pull numbers to where he wants the numbers to be. So it affects creatives in a way. Yeah.
Do you feel that a lot of creators would take the easy route to work for political agendas, to get the easy numbers, the easy growth, a viral trend going on, versus standing away from that, standing apart and growing naturally on your own?
Okay, I'd say our systems put us as creatives, our systems as creatives puts us in that state of being desperate. And that's one funny fact we have to accept. And that's why you'll get me publishing a magazine, and the next thing I'm thinking about is how I'll actually get something of this magazine paying me, because the systems here are so rigged in a way that it doesn't encourage me giving out, publishing a magazine and putting it out there for free for everyone or anyone to get it for use. So me backsliding and falling into a political venture is something quite easy because the offers are so crazy. But being an artist means standing by your own principles and standing by what you believe. And you can't use your creativity to shift an attention that would be so unfair to another citizen in a way. Because maybe pushing an agenda for a political figure might not be with the intention of good to everyone. Yeah. So
Right.
for creatives,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
so for creatives, it's quite a challenge. So it really needs to take a person to be so assertive to the extent of not allowing or accepting such an offer, because actually they can give you a very benefiting budget for any project you can bring up. At the end of the day, you will benefit, but there's that portion of your audience that got the negative aspect of what you did, and that's a following you've already lost. And losing a following can get yourself to the other part of people who are contradicting to you. They'll start giving that energy back and contradicting everything you put out there. Yeah. So you stand at the chance of you getting what you want, maybe financially or resources wise. But the real issue on the ground is that you'll get to lose part of your audience that you really to be in this space.
And you lose part of who you are if you go with that, not so authentic.
Yeah, you lose your identity. Yeah, you lose your identity in a way.
Okay.
Love is
Definition of love.
love is loyalty.
Love is something that
Giving me a ride home.
Sometimes you gotta find that out. You gotta go back to where it all started.
No take backs.
also something that you learn to establish.
Is it when someone comes around that makes your world go round and round, that makes your heart drop to the ground, then you can't stop smiling?
Okay. All right. So correct me if I'm wrong, the Mitumba and Grandma core culture?
Yes,
Could you
Mitumba business.
Huh?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah, it's called Mitumba business.
Mitumba business. Okay, so I'm a big fan in finding hidden gems and staying on a budget when I travel. So in Memphis, we do have a lot of drifting culture, but I've heard about the say it again. I'm sorry.
Mitumba.
Mitumba. I heard about
Yeah.
the Mitumba market in Kenya recently,
Yeah.
and how do you use those affordable finds to create high-end creative identities?
Okay. I'd give a very raw and relatable instance. Is that I thrift from Mitumba because giving life to second-hand clothes that people don't realize, because from this second-hand clothes you can get a lot of goodies from them. So it's a culture because we have a very big open air market that actually ventures only in Mitumba business. And I'd quote the name of the market. It's called Gikomba Market. Gikomba, Gikombo. It's actually one of the biggest. It's the leading in East Africa. It's the leading open air market actually in East Africa. Then maybe the rest would follow. So it's a culture, and the culture is advancing in a way. There's now the new concept coming up, and people are bringing the aspect of being more decent in a way. The open air markets are more or less of you just airing the clothes there and people coming just to check them randomly. But people are coming up with a new concept about actually bringing shops such as Think Twice, an idea about Think Twice. So there's a shop named maybe Think Twice, maybe 7 Day a Sunday. So the prices the prices are regulated in a way that we have start prices. The prices keep on going down as time goes. As people collect, as people continue thrifting, you know now the value of now the clothes in their catalog now gets down. So they have to now regulate the price so that they actually it's a way of doing a promo and also getting sales out of it. So it's a culture that is here, and a lot of people practice it because it's high end fashion on this side, we can say, because we actually get these second-hand materials from the other side, from the UK, from your country, because they are ex-UKs, they are imports we get from the other side. So it's cheap fantasy because actually you get to rock maybe in a label actually that you couldn't imagine to actually buy it new in a shop.
Well, it's kind of like the opposite of some of the landscape here, I would say. Because a lot of people in the United States, they do chase that high end fashion. They chase that high end price tag. And 9 times out of 10, within a year or so, we're not even going to own that expensive piece of cloth that they do strive to buy. And they go through blood, sweat, and tears to buy it. So I can relate to the culture of buying things, even if it's second handed, and making it look good. Because I bought a I don't know if you're aware of what a straw hat is. Have
A
you ever
straw
heard of that?
hat, maybe.
A
No, maybe
straw.
you elaborate, maybe I get.
Okay, it's
Okay,
like yeah, it's like a hat with a big round circle around. Like it's
yeah, I get it.
so I bought
Something
that.
for the smell. I
Mhm.
get people. A lot of people wear it during when it's snowing. Something of the sort.
Okay. I had bought it and I bought some clothes from the Goodwill. That's one of the stores, a thrift store here. It's called the Goodwill, where you buy pants for like $1 of US dollar or something like that, or they probably have it cheaper. But the things that you can put together from a second-handed store where people like donate their old clothes to. And I try to put a couple of people on it, but they just, the thought of having second-handed clothes is just wasn't happening from them.
Kick to them.
But I get it. I get the gist of creating something out of nothing, and a lot of that stuff. Like I be like when I do, I get looks. So when they look around, I'm like, oh, I did good getting this $1. You know what I'm talking about? So like, I like that. I like the culture. you know, I like the culture. As a film editor, I spend a lot of time behind the screen, but I've been hearing that many Kenyans creators are moving toward digital minimalism, using things like film cameras and cassette tapes to stay grounded. Is that something you practice to keep your creativity fresh?
Okay, I'd say I'm such an individual who uses what I have to create whatever I want. So I'm not after how the content will get to look afterwards, but I'm after the struggle I'm going to go through for the content to go. So I'd say in the beginning, before I got exposure to anything, I only had my phone. So I had my phone to shoot, I had my phone to research, I had my phone to take the photos, to take the videos. Again, I had my phone to edit the photos, I had my phone to edit the videos. So there's only this one gadget I'm using. Maybe I'm not in a position to get maybe a standard gadget, maybe a camera, maybe to do something. But these advances as time goes by. But do you know one thing about maybe service, I'll put it out as service delivery. Your client, maybe you're shooting some project for a brand or a client. The client doesn't know anything concerning the softwares and the gadget you're using to go and produce the project or the product, the end product. What the client wants is the results, and for the results to do their purpose. Maybe you're shooting a video for marketing, Maybe you're shooting photos maybe to use for a carousel for Instagram posts or something. So the client doesn't know anything. The client is in the position of waiting for you to deliver everything and waiting for everything to respond the way you agreed. You told them that the video will pull an audience of 1,000 reach or something. The client is just waiting, is there to wait to see the audience getting to that where you promised. So at the end of the day, you as the creator, you have the responsibility of going out to do research on the softwares and the resources you can use actually minimally to bring out the best of every product. So for creatives on this side, actually I really appreciate creatives who are grassroots, a creative who understands the level they are. Maybe I'm not in a position to be. Sorry, I just lost my connection a little bit.
That's okay. That's okay.
Capture the spotlight and connect with the heart of Memphis. Advertise with MEMgazine. Be seen.
Wow, what an amazing journey across the 7 continents of Kenya with Kane Carter on MEMgazine. Thank you all for watching.